Okay, so here we go. We're going to try to give you guys a little bit of a class and help you understand because it can be extremely confusing, especially when you see 4, 6, 8, 10. I got 11 diaphragm calls, 11 mouth calls sitting on this desk. How do you possibly know which one to blow or which one to start with if you've never even tried it? So I'm going to give you a couple little things that I learned way back when I was first starting. That'll hopefully help save you some money, and because you're just going to buy the calls that are the right ones for you. So here we go. All right, so down on this end, I have a double reed call, which is the closest I have to a single reed call. And I'm going to explain what I'm talking about here in just a second. Okay, so let's just take a mouth call, for instance, to start. The tape, when I'm referring to the tape, it is the outside edge around this. There is a metal strap inside there that's actually holding the latex across. That is what is giving you the sound. The latex is stretched really, really tight and really strong. This comes from, just to kind of give you the concept of where all these diaphragm calls, where these mouth calls came from, was basically the Native Americans started blowing on pieces of grass to represent or to replicate the sounds of birds. And when they did that, that's when someone decided at one time, we're going to take that and make it commercially, and that's what's going on. So the tape that we're referring to is not the part that you blow on, it's the part that's holding the call together. The latex is what is, and almost all mouth calls are made out of latex. Once in a while you'll see something might be silicone, but it's a lot thicker and it's more difficult to blow. Okay, but when you see just a solid one call like this and it's got no cuts in it, and I'm going to show you the difference in cuts in a second, what I'm going to get is a pretty clear, easy call to blow. Okay, and it's going to sound something like this. Real high pitch. And that's because there's nothing cut into this. So what I'm kind of losing here, I guess you'd say, and you're going to get it here in just a minute, I'm going to explain. Raspy is something that everyone's looking for when they look for a turkey mouth call. Okay, single reed call, and then we're going to talk about size, and maybe I should even do that now. Okay, because I'm going to put 3 calls in my hand here so you can see the difference, or 2 calls first of all, just to show size difference. For those big guys out there that think these are made because of the size of the person, that's not it at all. It's made to fit the size of your mouth. And I'll show you in a minute how you can make this call the same size as that call. So you can buy a bigger call and cut it down yourself, but now manufacturers are making them where one size fits all. I blow bigger size calls, but I can use smaller ones as well if I find one that I really like. Okay, so again, only 2 reeds, no cuts in it at all. Bigger call, this one's got more cuts in it. Another, probably, I don't know, maybe it's been 10 years now, maybe a little longer, is a new style of call that they've added to the market, and that is a dome, or they put something over top of the call. And what I mean over top of the latex portion of the call, and I got 2 of them here. I'll show you guys those. And what they've done is they've taken the latex portion of it and they put this bevel over top of it, or a dome. And the dome is to help bring the palate of your mouth down on the call. Takes less airflow to blow that call. Still goes in your mouth the same way. That's the smaller one. This is the larger one. Still make a good sound out of it. Now, you notice the difference. You can hear that raspy, that like dragging, crackly sound. That's coming because these calls have cuts in them where this one does not. Okay, but there's a reason why that one's still so important, and I'll explain that in just a second. Okay, now you're going to see lots of manufacturers make different styles. Doesn't really matter. You're going to find the one that fits your mouth the best. You'll see how this one has like a longer point to the end of it. This one's fatter, a little bit wider, but it's shorter. Also, some of the manufacturers make the tape out of a different, the tape is actually a different kind of tape. So like some of it's a little softer, some of it's a little more coarse. Maybe your mouth likes to hold the coarse one, maybe your mouth likes the softer stuff. You got to find the one that fits best for you. So there's a couple things to understand. What kind of tape do I like? And you're going to have to buy a couple calls to figure that out. How many reeds should I start if I'm a person that's just starting with calls for the first time? The less reeds, the easier the call is to blow. And what I mean by that is the one that I started with a minute ago that was real high pitched, that's got 2 reeds and no cuts in it. That is going to be the easiest call for me to learn how to be able to blow a call. If you're someone new and you're learning to get it and you want to get your first turkey call, don't go by something like this one that has 4 reeds in it and a cut in the center. You got to have a lot of airflow and you got to know what you're doing to get that call to make any sound at all. Okay, so single or double reed call is going to sound something like this. Real high pitch. Quadruple reed call. Big, big difference. And then a call with some sort of cut in it. And when I'm talking about cuts, we'll try to zoom in for you so you can see that the actual latex has got, and they can make a ton of different kinds of cuts. It can be straight cuts, it can be look like a turkey foot. But then you get, when you start cutting them, they sound like this. So you can hear a huge difference in the 3 styles of calls. Now that is from one end of the spectrum to the other, but we want to make this quick and easy. If you're looking for a new call, you want the least amount of reeds that you can get to start. If you're just looking to buy one for the first time. If you're someone who's more experienced, you might want to look for something that explains that it's deeper, it's raspier, it's going to give you more, more of a variation of the different kinds of calls you can make. Something like this one. And then if you think that you've tried diaphragm calls before and they just didn't quite work for you, maybe you want to look for a dome style call. Not all of them have a dome. Some of them just have basically a piece of tape that they bring across, and they'll put like a piece of metal over it and put that tape over it. So this is just one style. But all of these work. All of these will make turkey sounds. They all take a lot of extra love or an extra little bit of work. They're not as quick and easy as, say, a box call or a slate call. But man, when you master them, you can do so much more with them. And then you'll be on the road to calling all kinds of species because you can make a lot of different sounds with these. The one thing, 2 things that I would tell you, maybe 3. 1, if you're going to buy diaphragm calls, buy something to keep them in. Okay, almost all of them sell a little plastic case that their calls come in. You'll see these come in one and there's a little case in there. This one has a single case. But as soon as you get a couple of them, then they don't fit. And so you want to have something that you put your calls in. The other thing is you'll notice that this has holes in it so that you're able to put those calls in there after you've washed them off, because that was my other little tip. Rinse them off with just cold water and then put them in here and then put them in the refrigerator and keep them cool, and they will last a lifetime. Never store your mouth calls on the, like leaving them in your truck when it's 100 degrees is going to destroy them. Leaving them on the dashboard of your truck when it's 100 degrees, guaranteed that latex can't take that. And then the last thing that I'm going to show you is if you buy a call and it doesn't fit, it's kind of causing you to gag, but man, when you do make some sounds with it, you think it's just perfect, you can actually trim the call yourself. Okay, instead of buying smaller calls, you can buy the call you want, and then all you got to do is look at the call and then trim around the edge. And I'm never very good. I can't even draw stick people, so I'm not very good, and it doesn't matter if you get it just right, but you just take your scissors and go right around the edge, and just if you cut too close to the center of the call or too close to the metal, actually that might be one of the best ones I've ever done. You can see that I just took that much of the tape off of the call. Okay, and so that now I made it where it will, now, and when I was talking about don't get too close, if you cut down to the metal piece of the diaphragm call, then that will actually cause the call to come, that will cause the call to come apart. Much better. Fits a little easier in my mouth. So that's just a quick rundown on single reed, double reed. Those are going to be the easiest calls for someone new. Triple reed, quadruple reed is going to be someone that's going to be more of a veteran type person. And then when you start putting cuts in there is where you're going to get more rasp. Rasp is good when it comes to turkey sounds. Rasp is bad when we're looking at elk sounds. Cutting down your calls, keeping your calls clean, keeping them out of the hot, direct sunlight will make your calls last a lifetime. So if you guys aren't using mouth calls, I'm telling you, you're missing something, because not only are they fun to call turkeys, but you can annoy people with them too. Good luck.